Right, we're looking at the Electoral College. Is the Electoral College unfit for electing the president? How does it work? Why can it be criticised? Now, how it works is not as simple as a straight vote. Pause this now and make some notes. Okay, when you've unpaused it, do the same again. Okay, and finally, have another read and make some notes. Right, so having had a look at that, it might not still be clear. But if you've made some decent notes, have a watch of this video, then come down to this bit, okay, and we'll have a play with the map. Now, I like the 2008 map. It works quite nicely. So, as you can see, the country does not just vote and then the winner gets the presidency. We have the country split up into the 50 states. In addition to that, we have the District of Columbia. Now, each state is allocated a number of electors based on its population. The calculation is easy. It's simply how many House representatives the state has plus its senators. Every state has 2 senators, so a small state like North Dakota has 3 electors because that's their 2 senators plus their 1 House representative. California, on the other hand, has 55 because it has 2 senators and 53 House seats. Back in 2008, Texas had 34. They've got more than that now. I think they've got 37 now. But as you can see, that would be 2 senators and 32 House seats. Now, all of the electors added up together is 538, which means that the winning post is 270 to win. At this stage in time, 48 and the District of Columbia, 48 states and the District of Columbia use a winner-takes-all system. So, if you win a majority of the votes in the state, you get all the Electoral College votes. Let's have a look at Texas in 2008. Texas voted 55-43 for McCain. McCain takes all 34 Electoral College votes. Vitally, though, you need to understand that the states themselves get to choose the system. So some states decide not to use this system. You'll notice here that Nebraska has been allocated 4-1 because they give their Electoral College votes based on an electoral district map. Maine do a similar thing. So Maine and Nebraska are the only exceptions at this stage in time to the winner-take-all rule. So how do you win? You need to get enough electors to represent 270. As we can see on this map, Obama has got his blue states secured like California and New York, but he's also pulled in swing states like Florida, North Carolina, Colorado, and he has managed to get past that 270. So the final thing you need to understand here is that the electors themselves are actually people. They're generally well-respected party activists selected by parties in the state who wait for the state count to come in and then they go to the state capitol to officially cast their Electoral College ballot. It is possible occasionally that these electors will do one of 2 things. They will either ignore the electorate and not cast their vote, abstain, like Barbara Simmons did in 2000 as a protest over the fact that Washington DC doesn't have any senators or congressmen, or they could even change and vote for the other candidate. These are called faithless electors, and in a modern democracy, you could argue it's a criticism. But it's important to note that no faithless elector has ever changed the outcome of the election. So that's an interesting map to play with. The other one that I like is this Politico one, because you get to allocate. Now, moving on to the sort of the criticisms, if we predict our own results, you can see here that most of the states are shaded in sort of a light colour. Now, that's because they always do the same thing. So none of these states are actually in play. These states are called red states if they always vote Republican, and they're blue states if they always vote Democrat. So this leads to a major criticism of the Electoral College. Effectively, you have a handful of 9 states, which are the only ones that could go either way each time, which means that candidates tend to plough all of their time and resources into these states. But it's even worse than that, because if we were to give all of these states to Obama, no, let's do it the other way. Let's give them all to Romney. Okay, so if we were to give all of the swing states to Romney, but if we were then simply to give Ohio and Florida to Obama, Obama wins. This clearly shows us that if you were a smart candidate and you have about $750 million to spend, if you're Barack Obama, you are well advised to spend the absolute vast majority of it in Ohio and Florida. Is it fair that these 2 states get that level of attention? Now, there are other combinations. For example, Virginia's big enough to do this as well. I think North Carolina is just big enough to do this. Yeah, it is. So if we're going to be really cynical, we're going to say that this election is about 4 states. Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, Virginia. Is it fair that the election for the most important position in the entire world is decided by these 4 states? That is a criticism, and that really needs to be pushed. An additional criticism I think we can argue, if you I mean, this article is great. You can click on this article and there's loads of reasons. Again, pause it, make notes. Problem number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But vitally, there's this article talking about Al Gore and George Bush in 2000. So George W. Bush won the Electoral College vote following the recount, but Al Gore received more popular votes, about 540,000 more. So Gore got more votes, but Bush won the Electoral College. That is not a very good thing to have to explain to the electorate. If we go back and we explain what's happened here, effectively these states here are all worth very small amounts. They're worth 3. 3 might not sound like enough, but actually that's an inflation of their worth in terms of the population. 3, because they've all got 2 senators. If that was done on a population, California would have about 180, but it's only got 55. So Bush effectively won all of these small states. Phone call. So like we were saying, where Bush takes all of these small states, he gets quite a lot of Electoral College votes, but not actually that many votes themselves. So Gore, picking up all of his safe states, was actually getting quite a lot of votes, i.e. California, New York, which meant that the state of Florida, which was the recount, decided the election. Florida was so close, but can you see that again? In this system, you can get more votes and lose due to the overinflation, overrepresentation of the small states. So that's a criticism. Again, this article focuses on the idea that everything's about Ohio and Florida. And if you look here, this video, play it, you'll see that all of Obama's money is going into advertising in Ohio and Florida. So in summary, here's your strengths and here's your weaknesses. Again, this final article highlights problems with the Electoral College, and so have a look at that in the external link and make some notes. We will look at the proposed reforms of the Electoral College in a separate video.